Welcome to Inside Hilltopper Athletics, brought to you by Day and Night Heating and Cooling. I am Todd Allum. Along with me for this first segment, head coach of West Liberty football, Roger Wiley. Coach, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Homecoming this past week, the Toppers would take on Glenville State. Very familiar with one another, these two head coaches. Coming into this one, you had to expect that it was just going to be a knockdown, drag-out because of how much you knew each other.
Yeah, we expected a close game. We thought we can manipulate some things offensively, and obviously defensively, we're concerned about their balance. And we had an opportunity to win the game, and obviously we didn't make the plays to do that. We had the fight. We did everything that we were supposed to do to win the game, and we just didn't win the game. And I guess that's life. And so, but I was proud of the way the kids performed, and, it was the next man up mentality. When we lost somebody, whoever stepped in did the job. And, I'm proud of the way these kids are growing and maturing. Mostly is the maturing process of this team has been astronomical over the last 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah, you can kind of see it in the way that they play. This team has really stepped up and started to believe in each other and in themselves. Hunter Patterson, another great game in this one. 17 carries, 148 yards on the ground, 3 total touchdowns, 2 on the ground, 1 through the air. Jackson threw for 191 yards and 2 touchdowns. Pretty much mistake-free football on his part, again, with the youngster and third start in a row, and did pretty well for himself.
Yeah, and what he does, and like I said, he takes a lot of pressure off of Hunter because he can take off and go. And so, each week we got to try to find different ways to get both of them loose. The one big thing is we got to get the ball spread around a little bit more. But he makes so many big plays on his scrambling ability and getting loose, and really outside of the design of the offense. Sometimes it's frustrating as a coach when you call something and something's there, but then on the flip side, when something's not there, he tends to make things happen for us. So, we'll continue to grow and learn as we do this.
And this was a good back-and-forth game throughout. The Toppers would score first. It would be Hunter Patterson getting a long touchdown run. Good for him. Then in the second quarter, Cole Meisman comes in for a minute, finds Silas Hinson, gets down to the 1-yard line, but Toppers would have the time run out before halftime before they could get it in. In the third quarter, again, a close game. Junis McGraw would get an interception. An inadvertent whistle would blow the play dead. It looked like he was going to go for a touchdown. It was exciting in the booth. Thought it would happen, but the Toppers would still get possession. But as they entered the fourth quarter, it would be Glenville up. In the fourth quarter, both of these teams kind of went crazy, going back and forth. The Toppers had a big comeback in that fourth quarter. What was kind of the feeling in that final frame?
Well, we knew we would have to stop them, and it was almost like whoever had the ball last would have an opportunity to win the game. Unfortunately, we had 7 seconds. We actually called the play to just move the ball quick hitter that didn't hit, and then he scrambled around and tried to make a play, and then the time ran out. So, what we were basically trying to do is get 10 more yards to make it an easier throw into the end zone. And for some reason we didn't get that, and you move on. But, big thing too is, in that last drive for Glenville, they converted on 2 or 3 4th and 10s, and you're not going to win very many games if teams are doing that to you.
Throughout this game as well, the defense seemed to have some moments where they stepped up big. Again, the Junis McGraw interception. Also, Breandre Horsley had 14 tackles in this one. Big one for the Toppers. Talk about the defensive side of the ball.
Well, like I said, that's probably our biggest growth is the maturity defensively and getting to the football and playing faster and playing harder and playing injured. That's probably one of the biggest things I was proud of is how hard they play, knowing they had some nagging and bigger injuries. And obviously they're, starting to get a concept of the defense, and, we've been able to do a little bit more. It was a struggle in the beginning. With so many new guys playing, is just, the safety play has improved. I thought Elliott, before he got hurt, was playing well at free safety. We moved Coy because of injury back to the weak safety. That seems to solidify a couple things. So, again, we have to continue to improve both mentally and physically.
The Toppers had some good returns on special teams as well. Specifically, Trey Singleton had a couple good returns. It was good overall for the special teams as well in this one.
Yeah, I mean, as a coach, you look at the negative. We had the first PAT block, we had a punt block. That schematically we didn't do the things we were supposed to do, and we, again, in all aspects of just maturity, playing stuff, stops chasing men, stay in your zone. So those little things, but overall we've shown improvement throughout the season on special teams and all those things.
Also, as we go along with this, the Toppers will take on Fairmont State coming up. It'll be the only back-to-back home weeks we have this year. Is it kind of nice to stay home this time?
Yeah, I mean, we've been on the road, for the first 5 games we're on the road. That was kind of different, but being at home again, and you're facing a really good opponent. I mean, they're very explosive offensively with the 2 running backs. They play 2 tight ends, a receiver, so they're more about see if they can outscore people, and it's a big challenge to our defense to keep it down. And same thing offensively, we got to continue to take advantage of what they're going to give us, and teams are going to try to stop right now. I imagine if I was a coach, the biggest worry would be the Wildcat formation, just because Hunter has been able to show his explosiveness and take the ball the distance. And so those things, we have to prepare and do what we do best. But on the same sense, we got defensively, we're going to have to contain the running backs because they can go at any time, and they've proven it. They've done it all year against no matter what the opponent, whoever the opponent has been. And so they're very good at what they do. It's very similar to what Charleston does, both offensively and defensively. And so, their coach was there, and so he's going to bring what he had at Charleston and try to infuse it into Fairmont. But we have to play fundamentally sound offense and defense. We got to take care of the football. And big thing, we can't give up big plays special teams wise.
Again, this is going to be another big week for the quarterback, just his 4th start for Antavius Jackson coming up against Fairmont State. Again, just a rivalry game every single year, regardless of what the records are. It seems to be a good one between West Liberty and Fairmont. What do you expect to see out of the quarterback?
Well, he takes care of the football. That's why he's playing. We need to see him throw things more on time and on rhythm, and then we'll do some things to get him out of the pocket and move the pocket a little bit for him so he can see a little better. But I want him to be him. I want him to be able to extend plays. I want him to be able to run the ball, and I want him to be able to distribute it and nicely. And if I think that he's stalling a little bit, then we got other guys we can bring in.
Well, Coach, I appreciate you taking time out of your day to be with us. Folks at home, again, make sure you come up to West Family Stadium this coming Saturday. It'll be 1 o'clock kick. Fairmont State comes to town. I know it was homecoming last week, but it's a big week this week as well. The Fighting Falcons come to West Liberty. Always a fun one. Again, Coach, thank you for being here with us. Good luck Saturday. Folks, stick around. We'll be right back for more on Inside Hilltopper Athletics.
From humble beginnings in 1837, West Liberty University has been home to thousands of students. Whether you're a recent high school graduate or looking to complete a college degree later in life, starting your educational career at West Liberty University will be the catalyst for your future. This is a place where you will discover who you are and where you belong, surrounded by lifelong friends and a supportive faculty and staff. Start your journey home at westliberty.edu.
Welcome back to Inside Hilltopper Athletics, brought to you by Day and Night Heating and Cooling. I am Todd Allum. Along with me for this segment, head coach of men's and women's cross country, Michael Gwynn. Coach, welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Well, the Mountain East Conference Championships for this past weekend at Oglebay. Not necessarily a home course. I think it was the first time you've gotten to run that this year.
Oh yeah, that's it's a hard one to get on because it's in the golf course.
Yeah.
So and then we don't get to host a preview meet or anything on that one. So we had to. I mean, we kind of know it from the upperclassmen, but, we have a young team, so a lot of the freshmen had not saw that course yet. Got to go down the night before and walk it. We try not to run it the night before because it's such a hilly course and kind of difficult. So, try to save our legs a little bit for that next day when we have to race it.
Well, this being your first MEC championship for cross country as the head coach, what was kind of the mindset going into this one?
So we went into it with the mindset. We knew on the men's side, we knew we could mix it up with quite a few teams. We had gotten beat 2 weeks ago by a couple teams that we had beat earlier in the season. So we knew that we knew it was gonna be a really really tough battle, really close. I'd say probably the first half of the race we were probably more towards 6th and 7th place in the team standings, and then the guys really just dug deep and they fought through that second half of the race and really started to catch people, and we were able to end up with that 5th place finish on the men's side, which was I think pretty close to where we were preseason ranked. Doing that without without our without the one freshman boy that we thought was going to be in our top 5 this year, due to a little bit of an injury. So we're happy with where we were. Really kind of. We didn't really come off the training a lot for that one. We knew that we were, if we ran well, we'd be kind of where we should be, and kind of really just trying to really put our best foot forward heading into regionals and trying to go out there and see if we can do something special.
And it was great to see one of your leaders, the senior Robert Allen, finished 19th overall in the 8-kilometer race. He also got second team All-MEC, and it's a great, great thing for a kid that's been here working extremely hard for a long time.
Mac's a hard worker. Mac ended up being 19th, and I think if I remember correctly, Francis was like 23rd, and then Jasper was right around 27, 28. Those 3 seniors, they went out there and they do what they do every week, just really steady, controlled, and they got in there and raced hard. I think we got out a little slower than we should have, and maybe Francis could have made a little bit more of a push at the end if he got not just a tiny bit harder. But that course is it's pretty brutal, and you got a lot of uneven surface running, so you got to kind of be smart, and you got to make your moves in safe areas, and they did that, and they climbed a lot. I'd say first half of the race we were probably more back in the 30s and 40s, and they just gradually kept moving up, and then they really started passing people towards the end of the race. So. That's kind of what we talked about, just getting out, being steady, and just really trying to catch people as they started to come back. And on that course, it's very easy to get sucked out at the beginning, and those guys kind of understand that they got to be smart on that course, and they did a really good job. And then the freshman and then sophomore Zach Workman, they came by me at one point, and I kind of fired them up a little bit, and then they really responded to it, which was really fun to watch and see, just to see that response to I was like, hey, we need you to step up, and they did, and they started catching people and really set us to be able to move up to that spot on the team side. So I'm very happy with that. And then on the women's side, Lacey Dimmitt, she had a great race. She same thing, kind of got out a little conservative and just kept passing people the entire way. She was in a big pack there at the end and catching people. Freshman Naomi Young and Lexi Wynn, they're just not knowing that course yet. I think that we'll see some great growth over the next 3 years with them as they continue to improve and mature as runners. They're doing a great job in their freshman campaign. I mean, all the women's teams doing a great job. Allie Hicks had a great race for us. She was very tough, kept catching people the entire time. I think we're gonna have a special group there in the next 2 years as they continue to develop and grow and get a little bit faster. We're really excited with the youth on both sides and where we're going to be able to take this over the next couple of years.
Yeah, and that was going to kind of be one of my next questions. Now that we're, I guess, at the end of the regular season, you could say, of cross country, being your first year as head coach here, how did this first regular season go for you?
No, it was good. So we came in the season and the kids were really fit. We continue to keep growing. Like I said, a couple weeks ago at CMU, we had a lot of personal bests on the women's side for the 5K. On the guys' side, we had some really good races. And then we continued into conference. They just, you can't really judge by time there, but those were some really good races. Just the way they fought against the conference competition, and just were able to, try to match play with Point Park and Glenville's, 3, 4, and 5, and when you have that 1, 2, 3 kind of up front, that helps your, when you're 4 and 5 can get really close to them. It really helps you, be in the mix on the team side.
Now we move on for both men's and women's. The Atlantic Regional coming up, Division II Atlantic Regional set for November 8th in Lock Haven, PA. And in the back of my mind, I feel like you've raced there this year once already, but I'm not certain.
No, we usually do. Last
Okay.
couple of years we go there preseason. This year we went to Louisville.
Okay.
But I mean, Lock Haven is almost like running on a track. It's pretty flat. It's around a big field, a cornfield. So you do some different loops around that field, and it's attached to like a big soccer complex. Their baseball field is there as well, but it's a really nice course, really flat. I'd say the only hill you have is there's a little where the access road comes in to park. You kind of go up this little stump or up this little hump and across and down. It's about 3 steps up, 3 steps down, and that's about the biggest part of that's the most elevation gain you'll get on the course. So we enjoy running up there. It'll be a good chance for the girls to show off how fit they really are and go after some 6K PRs. And I think we'll have quite a few that will be able to do that. And then the guys side is 10K. So a lot of our freshmen will get set their standard for the 10K time, and then we have some upperclassmen that we want to go up there and do better than they've done the last couple of years and get a PR for 10K as well.
We've seen throughout other sports too, not just the Mountain East Conference has done really well in certain sports, but also the Atlantic region. Where does cross country stack up compared to the other regions in the country with the Atlantic region?
So we have a couple teams in our conference that will fight for those. There's the top 3 automatic spots. Charleston would probably be the favorite right now. Shippensburg is pretty tough. And then D&E would be in the mix, and then probably you're looking. There's a team from Fayetteville State's got some pretty good runners. And then you figure West Virginia Wesleyan's running really well right now. I'm trying to think who else is in the mix. There's a couple of the PSEC schools that will be up in the mix. So we're just kind of like we want to go up there and do our best to be a top 10 team in the region. We got to pack it together really well, and I think if we do that, we'll have a fight for it. Those three seniors to really be up in the mix and really tight, and shooting for those all-region spots, and I think if we can do that, we'll have a chance to finish. Maybe close to one of our higher finishes in the region than what we've had in the last couple of years.
So the veterans for both men's and women's for this West Liberty cross country team, they've run on this track or this course
Yes.
before at Lock Haven, so some familiarity there. You said Fayetteville State, since this is a West Liberty show, we got to mention their head men's basketball coach is a former Hilltopper player here, Devin Hearn. He was very good for us. Got to throw his name out there, give him some love and support for West Liberty.
Absolutely.
But Coach, good luck. Congratulations on the 5th place finish in the Mountain East Conference Championship for the men's, 8th place finish for the women's.
That was a spot better than what we were last year, so we were excited about just improvement. So if we keep improving,
Absolutely.
we just keep climbing the ladder, and like I said, we have a very young women's team, and they're all just starting to find their stride. So we're excited about where we can go with that.
So November 8th at Lock Haven coming up, we'll have the NCAA Division II Atlantic Regional Championships. Coach, good luck in those.
Thank you so much.
Folks, don't go away. We're coming back with one more segment on Inside Hilltopper Athletics.
From humble beginnings in 1837, West Liberty University has been home to thousands of students. Whether you're a recent high school graduate or looking to complete a college degree later in life, starting your educational career at West Liberty University will be the catalyst for your future. This is a place where you will discover who you are and where you belong, surrounded by lifelong friends and a supportive faculty and staff. Start your journey home at westliberty.edu.
Welcome back to Inside Hilltopper Athletics, brought to you by Day and Night Heating and Cooling. I am Todd Allum. Along with me on this final segment is head coach of men's soccer, Sean Regan. Coach, welcome back to the show.
Thanks, Blake.
2 games this past week.
Yep.
Took on West Virginia Wesleyan first, had to travel down to Buckhannon before we even get to the game. I love that travel down there.
Yeah.
I love the Buckhannon area. It's beautiful and maybe a little too late this time of the year to see all the leaves and
Yep.
the true beauty of it, but it's a great little part of the state.
Oh yeah, it's just fun little trip. Wish it wasn't 7:30 at night and getting back at 2 a.m. But yeah, it was all right.
The first time you guys met this year, the Toppers won 4-0. This came out to a 2-2 draw. The Toppers played a tough one in this one, but all in all, it came out even. What were the differences in this game compared to last?
Yeah, I mean, they play on grass, so
Yeah.
that plays a big part into it. So we were going up on the old grass field to train on it for 2 days and just kind of get used to the surface. And it had rained for the past couple of days before that, so they really weren't able to get on there and cut it. So it was long and short in area. So it took us a long time to kind of get adapted to that kind of system. And Wesleyan's very much a team that lives and dies by their emotions. So at home we were able to jump on them 2-0. Then it was pretty much cruise control for the whole second half. Where this time they got the first goal. You know what I mean? So once they got that goal, a lot of life in them. And it was difficult, and we managed to come back and make it 2-1. And then they scored a really, really good goal to make it 2-2. And then like the last 10 minutes, it was just like a ping pong match. It was just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So, but it was the turning point was them scoring the first goal. If we had scored the first one, it probably would have been an easier route for us.
Is this still the only fields in the conference, or the last field in the conference that's grass?
It's the only one. It's
think
the last man standing.
I think it was the same thing for football, but again, I never played soccer. For football, I enjoy the natural
Yeah.
grass. I love that, but I think everybody has turf now. It's probably only a matter of time before they get it as well. But Wesleyan, again, came up big for themselves, got the draw here, and the Toppers would have to move on. You come back home to take on Salem. And this one on Senior Day, homecoming afternoon. A lot of people on campus that afternoon. A crazy affair in this one.
Yeah.
Back and forth. 9 goals scored in this one. 5-4 the victory West Liberty would get. And a lot of emotion. You talked about emotion
Yeah.
with West Virginia Wesleyan. A lot of emotion and physical play in this one as well.
Yeah, it was wild. That's the best way to describe it. It was really nice to play on homecoming. Brad and Rex were really accommodating to let us do it for the first time, and I sent them a little note to say thank you very much, because it was the best atmosphere I've had in 7 years. We had a lot of alumni coming back, a lot of parents, a lot of people bouncing back and forth between the football game and soccer game, and then on top of that, Senior Day. So it made it great. Even though Salem's a non-conference opponent, we had our eye on the next game. A little bit, and it took us a while to get going, but they scored first, and then we were to come back and make it 2-1, and then we had a guy sent off, and then from there, it was just a storm in the second half. So we were lucky to prevail, for sure. But it was definitely entertaining for the neutral party, for sure.
It was a lot of resilience for this team, as they were down 4-2 and came back and got a big victory, 3 goals. With this emotion kind of late in the season, I guess you could say regular season, do you enjoy these kind of games this late in the year?
That one was pretty good, you know what I mean? Because we were down 4-2 and down a man, so it didn't look like we were going to get anything from it. So, we took a lot of the starters off to kind of rest them, with the eye on Charleston, and put a lot of the reserve guys on. And fair credit to them. They've worked hard all season. They've been pushing the first team guys, and they came in at an impossible kind of moment in the game. And just their energy, their work rate, their determination to prove something to the coaching staff and to their teammates is why we prevailed. That game, it's okay to be that entertaining because it's non-conference and doesn't count for anything. So the next 3 games against the number 2 team in the country in Charleston, and then Concord, who's been regionally ranked, and we 10 in the country at one point, and then our derby against Wheeling. I would love for them to be a little bit more easygoing, but unfortunately, I don't see that happening.
Well, you never know. There's different ways of thinking. You're getting them ready.
Yeah.
You're getting amped up against Salem. We got these 3 teams coming in. We got to be ready to go before they even show up, and hopefully that is what will happen. We'll see.
Yeah, big momentum for the next 3 games will propel us into the playoffs. That's the big thing. If we can have some good showings, some good results, that's going to put us in good stead going forward. And unfortunately for us, I guess looking across the conference, we probably have the 3 roughest games left out of anybody.
Yeah.
But if we can get something from that, it really gives us a little bit of confidence, and we're proving to ourselves that we can be a good side.
Absolutely so. And again, the regular season is winding down. You did have your Senior Day on this past Saturday, homecoming. Talk about the seniors you have.
Yeah, fantastic. Waddy came in as a junior college transfer, so this was his second year. It was a good goal scorer from us up top, nice guy. And then Oscar and Alex have been here for 4 years. They came in with a class of about 8 or 9 guys, and they're the kind of the 2 that are remaining. Always worked really hard, super nice guys, fantastic in the classroom, and just absolute service to the program. So hopefully they won't be missed, come January time, if this 5th year of eligibility gets passed, all 3 want to stay, so that'd be fantastic. But if it doesn't, then they've all been just characters to their family, and proven warriors to the team.
Yeah, that's got to be kind of a unique, odd situation for those guys, just because You don't know. Like,
Yeah.
this could
Nobody
be
knows.
it. Yeah, this could be it. I might have another year. We don't know, and it's a weird kind of situation there. But again, the seniors, they've done so well.
Mm-hmm.
They've earned the opportunity, even if it's not their senior year, to be
Yeah.
acknowledged this year and next as well if they
Absolutely.
want to. That's fine. The Toppers do, as you say, have Charleston coming up. At West Family Athletic Complex. That's today at 6 p.m. Topper Nation, get up here and make sure you get to watch both of these very good squads take each other on. Charleston 9-0-2 in the conference,
Yep.
12-0-3 overall. Like you said, one of the best teams in the country. Should be a great one. What do you expect with this?
They're a monster. Yeah, I mean, that's the simple way to put it. They run national runners up last year, second in the country right now. But they have some vulnerability to them. They're not quite as good as they were 2-3 years ago. Even though they're pretty much undefeated, they dropped some points in conference against D&E and Frostburg, and down there we lost to them 3-0. But we did have some opportunities, more opportunities than we've probably ever had against them. You know what I mean? So I think if we have the right game plan, the right attack, maybe hopefully they come in a little bit overconfident. You know what I mean? Having beaten us early in the year, that we can get some from the game. We played them here last year at home. And really, we should have been up 2-0 at halftime, and they got a lucky goal from a bit of a miss-hit cross to go in and score a nice one, to end it. But, as the time has come on with our team, we're proving to ourselves that this is a game that we're not going to be happy with just playing and getting a marginal result, 1 or 2-0. We're trying to get points, which is huge, and hopefully shock a lot of people in the process.
And I know we've kind of talked about this in the past, and soccer and some other sports may be more prevalent with this when you have international students that
Yeah.
are maybe from climates that are a little more closer to the equator, I guess you
Yep.
could say, whether it be South America, whatever. People that are used to the warmer climate. So when it does get cold, maybe it affects them slightly more. Would that affect Charleston too much, or are they kind of over that?
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, I would say our guys are a little bit more used to it, being mostly the European guys. And if it's going to be cold and rainy like it's supposed to be tonight, that kind of helps us a little bit. They do have a good South American contingent, that if it is 42 degrees and raining, they might not be up for it. They would rather be on the bus or something like that. So you do see that come into play a lot. Even going to Stone Age when I was a player, we played University of District of Columbia, and their whole team was from the Caribbean and Africa, and we played them in November. They beat us in September 4-0, and then we beat them in December because they couldn't get off the bus. They were so cold. So it does have a lot to play into it.
Well, when it comes to Charleston and soccer, we will take any advantage we could possibly get. Hopefully that happens for the Toppers tonight. Again, Topper Nation, get up here to West Family Athletic Complex. Tonight at 6 p.m., the Toppers take on Charleston, one of the best teams in the nation. Coach, good luck.
We'll need it. Thanks, buddy.
We will see you next week. If we had more time next week, we'll see. Maybe the final show of the year, we'll talk more Pittsburgh Penguins. Before the show, we're talking Pens, Flyers, and
next time.
Yeah, we'll get them next time. We need to find a shootout goalie. Coach, thank you for being
No
here with
problem.
us. Folks at home, thank you for watching. Again, this show was brought to you by Day and Night Heating and Cooling. For Coach Regan, I am Todd Allum. Thank you to Teresa Gretchen, and producer and director. We will see you next week for another episode of Inside Hilltopper Athletics.
From humble beginnings in 1837, West Liberty University has been home to thousands of students. Whether you're a recent high school graduate or looking to complete a college degree later in life, starting your educational career at West Liberty University will be the catalyst for your future. This is a place where you will discover who you are and where you belong, surrounded by lifelong friends and a supportive faculty and staff. Start your journey home at westliberty.edu.